MVP demo in 2 weeks, pitch deck in next month, and your backend is still in a starter host that could crack tomorrow. Founders tell us all the same story. We'll patch it later, but then traffic spikes or investors ask how will you scale, and later becomes an emergency, an expensive one. CloudGo.ai lets you level up from a hobby host to a production grade cloud in minutes. No expensive DevOps or engineering hires required for this. So today we're just going to do a simple build walkthrough. We're going to start with one of our template solutions. You could always enter with a GitHub repo of your own or just do a simple prompt. But today we're going to start with one of the templates just at the top of our screen. So we're going to click on the template and we're going to pick the cloud provider. You could pick either one. It doesn't matter. It's going to build it for whatever cloud you select, whichever your startup wants to be running on, and it's going to start building your project out for you. And what we're going to be building today is imagine just a simple control panel that's going to let your team turn new app features on and off for different users at any moment for your product. And what the backend is going to do specifically is it's going to keep all of these on and off switches in sync and running fast. So this functionality is there. So what you see, once you click on the template, you have a nice full code project. It tells you how to deploy it. It tells you everything in it. You can look at the coding files yourself. It's all there, and it's going to give you a nice summary. Here's the key features of it. Here's some customization suggestions. But just because you get a code with us, there's always customization post code gen. It doesn't matter how you enter or what type of project you generate. You could always scale it. You could always pivot it. You could always add features, remove features, whatever the customization your startup needs, we will be able to support that with CloudGo.ai. So we're just going to add some feedback. So you see it as these great customization suggestions. It explains not super technically what each one does. So you don't have to have a lot of cloud ops experience to even understand what these suggestions are. You could just say, yes, I want some of these features for my backend. That makes sense. So you could just say, yes, add in the customization suggestions. But I have some suggestions of my own I'd like to add. Like, let's say I want also add nightly encrypted backups and auto scaling for 10x launch traffic. So I'm going to add that in, and it's going to get to work looking through all this best practice documentation, both from the internet and from our custom graph database, to say, okay, I'm not just going to implement these features you told me about, but I'm going to find the best, the most cost effective, the most efficient way to implement those features. So all you really need to do is just describe what you need, whatever language you're most comfortable with, and CloudGo.ai is going to translate that into rock solid infrastructure code. And there's always a suite of tools at your disposal, even outside of post code gen. You can validate your code even past what our database is allowing us to do to give you these full projects. You can estimate costs. You can visualize the code. You can connect, so you can push and pull from GitHub. It's not just a copy paste thing into your GitHub. We have GitHub integrations. You can integrate with your cloud account here. We have chat mode if you'd like to ask questions about the infrastructure without directly editing your code. And we have this logging as well. And what the logging does is it allows us, once you deploy this to your cloud environment, we can do the maintenance of your project. We can tell you if things go down. We can tell you when they go down, what are the best things in your infrastructure wise to kind of change that. So we can make sure your backend is staying up to date and is staying functional. So you don't have to leave CloudGo.ai after you generate your project. We can have that full infrastructure lifecycle management all done for you, all at the click of a button. So here we go. It generates a new project. It gives you this new code base. It tells you the changes it made for the different features you asked for. And then it gives you the next step. So you don't even have to really know, oh, what's the best tool for me to run next? It'll tell you. So it'll tell you update these files. It tells you run these Terraform commands, and that could just be done through validate code. But right now, I just want to, let's say I want to estimate costs. Like I want to know how much this costs to me every month. And so behind the scenes, we're writing the Terraform the cloud config so you don't have to, and everything launches in your cloud. You get full control, no vendor lock-in, and from the moment it's live, you get real-time metrics, you get the cost visibility, and it just answers every investor's favorite question. How is this going to scale? And you could so easily show this to them, to your team, and even just prove it to yourself. Like, okay, what I'm doing is going to work. It's not going to break the bank. And you get a nice cost estimate here. So you can see it breaks it down by the resources. It gives you per usage, how much it's costing. So if you know from your analytics how many users or how many clicks you're getting, you could easily extrapolate that out, which is a simple calculation of this, how much it's going to cost me every month. And you can see this isn't going to break the bank. Like it's not hard to get a custom backend tailored to your startup. It's something you could very easily do. And just if you need to test a new feature or undo a bad push, it's just a click away. CloudGo.ai guards your runway so you can keep shipping. You don't need the expertise to make sure that you're doing this right. And We've already seen founders using CloudGo.ai reach that MVP, reach that seed demo, get that Series A traction without the heavy ops tax. And so don't let infrastructure derail your milestone, whatever one you're racing towards. Whether it's launch day or your next race, just click into CloudGo.ai today, build a backend that's going to grow as fast as your vision and is going to stick with you no matter the problems that your startup faces.